Thank you, everyone. Good evening at 6 p.m. on June 14th. I'll call a meeting of the Town Council to order. If we could please take a moment of silence to reflect on all those adversely affected by the numerous unfavorable situations taking place both here and abroad. Thank you all. In accordance with Mass General Law, tonight's meeting is being audio and video recorded. I would ask if anyone in the audience is recording, if you could please identify yourselves.
Clear.
Thanks, Ryan. Tonight's meeting is being held virtually through a Zoom webinar pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 provisions ordering the suspension pertaining to the open meeting law. Before we get started, I just wanted to congratulate Kathy, Ralph, Anna, Matthew on the election. Anna and Matthew, welcome to your first council meeting, and thank you for taking the opportunity to serve your community and the residents. We certainly will appreciate your help as we move forward here, so thank you again. We do have a couple signed up for public comments this evening. I believe the first speaker is Ken Hancock. Jeannie, is that right?
That's right. Ken Hancock, and then Ellie Walsh will be after him. And I see they're both here. Ryan,
do you see Ken in the audience with a hand up maybe?
Yep, I'm pulling Ken in right now.
Thank you.
I think. Where'd he go? He's not popping up on the panelist side.
Just for reference, do you see Ellie by any chance?
I do.
Okay. Why don't we give it a couple of seconds, and we can certainly jump to Ellie if Ken's having technical difficulties. Nothing yet, right, Ryan?
No, would you like me to pull Ellie in?
Yeah, let's do that, and hopefully you can straighten out whatever the problem might be.
It's not pulling her in either. Ellie, can you unmute?
Okay, no, she didn't.
Oh, there's Ken.
Kenneth, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. I'm sorry, I had technical difficulty, and I'm sorry for being late.
No worries. You know, Mike, I got Kenneth here, and then Ellie's here, but is still muted.
Okay, well, we'll speak with Ken and move forward to Ellie after Ken lets us know or gives us an update on the Commission's 50th anniversary. So Ken, the floor is yours. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me this evening. Just wanted to let everyone know that this Saturday, the 18th, the Historical Commission will be celebrating the pandemic postponed 50th anniversary of its formation. It'll be from 9 o'clock to 3 p.m. At the Historical Commission headquarters at 87 Maple Street. Just a little about our history, as you all probably know, but we were founded in 1970 following the landmark work that was completed by the History Group in 1968 and 1969 that supported our town's 75th anniversary. And in light of our mission in town to acquire, organize, preserve, maintain material assets of interest that pertain to the history of East Longmeadow, and to make assets accessible to the public and promote historical awareness within the community. So this Saturday, we'll be having a few surprises. We have some new displays that we'll be showing. We're pulling out the famous Cooley Double Ripper. It's a 14-foot sled that is documented in the Clarence Cooley book from the early 1900s, or that was the time period, but the book is from the 70s. And we hope that we will have a big turnout and hope to see some of you out there on Saturday. Thank you.
Thank you. And could we have your address for the record, please?
My address is 18 Rolling Meadow Lane, and that's East Longmeadow.
All right. Thanks, Ken. And we'll keep Saturday, the 18th in mind for the celebration.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ken.
Thank you.
It looks like Ellie's unmuted, huh, Ryan? Yeah.
Can you hear me?
You can.
There you go. Loud and clear.
Great. Okay.
Ellie, could you state your address for the record, please?
Yes, 27 Broadleaf Circle, East Longmeadow.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Tonight, I'm representing the members of the East Longmeadow Cultural Council. Normally, we fund diverse programs for a variety of audiences and participants, but this time we're talking about something we're promoting for ourselves. Tonight, I would like to invite you to our Arts and Brew Festival, which is this coming Saturday. You can come and see us after you go to Ken's celebration, or you can go to Ken's celebration and then come see us, or see us and then go to Ken's, whichever. This festival was only possible due to a $1,500 grant from the Massachusetts Cultural Council. Also, we're partnering with the Brew Practitioners Brewery to promote their small new business. The festival will run from 12 to 6 and will feature local artists. We'll have face painting for the youngsters, we'll have food trucks, and we'll have live entertainment. From 12 to 3, we will have Donnie Dark Pop and Marky Jean Spear. And from 3 to 6, Richie Mitnick and Joe Simeri. The best entrance into our festival this Saturday will be via Crane Avenue, and we will have plenty of parking. They're predicting good weather, so follow the signs, follow the balloons, and we hope we'll see you all there. Thank you very much for your time.
All right. Thank you for joining us, and we'll look forward to catching you this Saturday.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Okay. Council comments. Matthew?
I just wanted to introduce myself before we get started. My name's Matt Boucher. I've met some of you in person. Some this is the first time I think we've met. And to those at home. And I'm excited to get started. I'll be serving the next 2 years here. And that's all. Thank you.
All right. We're excited to have you and look forward to working together. Anna?
Hi.
Hello.
I met most of you, I think last week. Jeannie has been so helpful in this from start to just yesterday, getting me all ready to go today. I'm super excited. Hopefully I'm going to learn a lot from you all. And yeah, I'm just excited to get going.
Wonderful.
All right. We're happy to have you as well. Ralph, I saw your hand up.
You did, Mike. I just wanted to give a huge shout out to Jeannie and all the volunteers that worked the polls. They did an absolutely amazing job. Jackie too, even though your little injury. I can't believe how many hours that they put in and what a fantastic job they did. And I just wanted to reach out and say thank you.
Yeah.
All right. We
you.
all appreciate your efforts and obviously another flawless job by Jeannie and her staff. So thank you as well. I just wanted to mention that, you know, our next council meeting I was planning on having for planning purposes, doing via Zoom again, but our first meeting in July when we reorg, I think it would be a nice touch if we could actually meet in person while we cast our nominations and votes. So that's the plan going forward. And let's see, there's Mary. And Mary, do you have a report for us this evening?
Excuse me, Mike, I had a couple of things to add under council comments, but
absolutely.
Just to tag on to your remark, what for the in-person meeting, when is it going to be?
I thought about, and again, if it works with everyone's schedule, it would be for the reorg, which is the second meeting in July.
I'm away a good chunk of July, so that won't work. That's
Okay.
why we talked about Zoom for July and August.
Okay. Well, we want to get that done, and
Right.
If you're away and other people have traveling plans as well, that's why I thought tonight might be a good opportunity to figure that out. Then we will reserve dates through LCAP for a Zoom meeting, and then we'll see where we go from there. Fair enough?
Fair enough. So my two comments are to tag along to the events happening on Saturday. It's my recollection that the Norcross House is also hosting an event. Marilyn, help me out with the title of it.
I'm not sure of the title of it, but it's a craft fair of sorts.
Okay, so it's a great opportunity, and they're all almost nearly adjacent to one another to, you know, show up at 3 local events and celebrate all the good things that we have going for us here in town. And my second comment is a shout out and sincere thank you to Sid Starks and Don Anderson for stepping up during this past fiscal year when vacancies became available. They brought a great dimension of experience and camaraderie to the council. So I just want to make sure that they get due credit for their time and work with us.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Kath. Any other comments from the council before we move on to our manager's report? Okay, Mary.
So you have my report, and I too wanted to thank everybody who ran for office this last time and congratulate Anna Jones and Matt Bocher for their successful runs. And I echo Kathy's comments about Sid and Don Anderson, that they brought a lot to the council and were very helpful in accomplishing the town's business over the last 6 or 8 months. So my thanks to them as well. Since our last meeting in May, at the end of May, when you passed the budget, we've started preparations on some of the capital projects and implementing some of the recruitment and advertising for the positions that you authorized. Several of them have been advertised already. Several of the capital projects for which we've received initial bids are coming in higher than anticipated. I guess that really is no surprise in light of all the issues of which we're well aware, but we're working on all those things and trying to make adjustments on certain projects where necessary, and we will bring them all to conclusion over the next year or two for sure. As I say in my report, I hate to, beat the same drum, but office space and seating capacity are going to be key issues for these new hires once we hire them. In fact, some of the departments are deferring their recruitment until we figure out where we can put a desk and chair. Stating the obvious, but it's a huge problem in town hall that's well known to everybody. I was approached by some of the elders, I guess I'll call them, of the First Congregational Church. They say they have office space that's not being used in their facility, and they're anxious to not offer it to the town free, but to offer it to the town for perhaps a rental. And so I'm trying to work with all of them and all of our departments to see if perhaps there's a department that could be relocated over to that building, just as a temporary fix on our really drastic space needs. We did start our negotiations with the fire department. I was a little bit reluctant to start that in light of my short term remaining, but the union wanted to at least have the first ground rules session. So we did that on June 1st. And we won't meet again, at least until there's a new manager. We've also provided them with a list of numerous financial documents that their union leadership had asked for. So that's been accomplished. We have two, in addition to the seating and the capacity problems, the other problems, and I don't mean to be negative tonight, but the other problems are our road conditions and our trash situation. If I had a dime for every phone call and email we've had in the last 3 weeks about trash or the failure for pickup and what are we doing about it and how come nothing's happening, et cetera, I would be rich. So for now, I'll have to just be rich by the enjoyment of your company and presence for the last 3 years. But I want to reassure the public, we've talked to our council. We're in the process of taking all remedies that are available to us. We are more than mindful of the difficulty that this situation creates for homeowners. I have to give a shout out to Bruce Fenney, Tommy Christensen, and Daryl Keene. I had asked Bruce yesterday, at my wit's end, I'm getting phone calls and emails at 6 a.m. and we start talking at about 6:05 to try to address what we're going to do in a particular day. Bruce, Tom, and Daryl actually went out today and cleaned up the trash from about 7 streets in town, and they will be back at it tomorrow. We tried to get our new vendor to come in early. There are some contractual issues that prohibit that. We have clauses in the existing contract that, mind you, has been in effect since 2010, that we're working through, and we are exercising every option we have to get this situation cleaned up. So for all the people who are upset and calling in, some people call every day to say that my trash wasn't picked up and you told me it was going to be picked up yesterday or today and it wasn't. Well, we're only reflecting the information that comes to us from the vendor. So when they make a representation to us that we'll be out on X street or in X neighborhood tomorrow, we expect that they will be. That may have been good faith that was not returned in some fashion, but the fact that their contract is expiring on June 30th prompted some of the forbearance that the town exercised. If this were in the middle of a contract term, I don't think we would have had as much patience. I know for one that I would not have. So I just want to reassure the people as much as possible through these words of mine that we are on it. We are mindful of it. We're doing our level best to get the situation corrected. And when you have your 3 top managers from the Department of Public Works going out in their own trucks, picking up stuff, that says to me a lot about their commitment to the community. And I want the council to know that. There's also, in my report, I mentioned that there were 2 disposal sites up at the transfer station that would be available on Wednesdays and Saturdays only. We've extended that so that they're now available Monday through Friday for all day. And we realize that that makes a difficulty for some people to get their trash up there, and they shouldn't have to do it. So Bruce and his men are working on that aspect too, particularly for elder residents who may not have the physical capacity to load their trash and get it up there. So we're not overlooking any suggestion or any possibility. And I guess I've said that 3 times now. So the other problem is our roads. We get some complaints about the surface conditions. I've communicated with several residents directly, and all I can say is, and it's interesting that hopefully Senator Lesser and the representatives are here because the Mass Municipal Organization is advocating for increases in Chapter 90 funds. The formula that the Commonwealth uses to fund Chapter 90 has not changed since 2012. We get about $576,000 to $580,000 a year, and it doesn't go far. And you can imagine 10 years later with the same formula, the value of that money has shrunk. So the DPW currently has $20 million of road work backlogged. So streets that are a little bumpy may remain that way for a little while. I can only again state that with the town's capacity, we do everything within our power to stretch the dollars that we have and to accomplish what we know the community wants and is best for everyone. In that vein, we did receive a Winter Recovery Assistance Program grant that is essentially a supplement to our Chapter 90 money in the amount of roughly $327,000. I can assure you that that money will be used up just with inflationary costs for the materials and the contracted portion of the work that has to be done. But we're doing our best to work through these previously bid projects, and to Maple Street will be a major project this summer. I'm warning the public that it'll be quite disruptive. That entire artery is going to be resurfaced, but it has to be milled first. So if you travel that way, you might want to find an alternate route in the near future, but the end result will be worth it. On another unfortunate note, our veteran service officer has resigned due to some personal family issues that she must attend to. The board of directors of the district met in early June, and contrary to what I wrote in my report, we were supposed to meet Tuesday of this week, but that meeting was canceled. So we have advertised for a new veteran service officer. That job is posted on our website, and it'll be in the reminder, and it'll be in the websites of the other communities that are members of the district. When we have an appropriate candidate, the East Longmeadow will most likely have to come back to you for some increase in the budget. Michelle has some personal reasons for taking a very low salary in her capacity as a veteran service officer. We don't know if we'll get a candidate in similar circumstances going forward. So that's a looming additional cost as well. We have chosen a new library director, I'm happy to report. Katie McGonigal currently is employed in Longmeadow as the youth services librarian in the Stores Library. She's going to join us on July 18th. I'm meeting with her on Thursday of this week because she sort of wanted, I think she might want to go to my last department heads meeting. If she's available, that's going to be Thursday at noon. And I want to introduce her to other people, but the library staff has been phenomenal during the absence of a director. Michelle Lemire, Kristen Severia, and Carol Gallietta in particular, as well as all of the other staff in the library, have stepped forward and done extra work to make sure that the library patients haven't missed a beat, and that the budget issues and the curriculum acquisitions are all in order. So I'm very appreciative of all of their efforts, as well as the efforts of the Board of Trustees and the other member of my steering committee who sat through, I think we interviewed 6 or 7 people for that position. So that was a lot of work, a lot of time invested. And I think we have an excellent new director. In the library business, Amy Paul, who's a current member of the Board of Trustees, has asked for reappointment, and I suggest that the council view that favorably. And lastly, the negotiations are ongoing regarding 70 Maple Street. I'll give you another update at the meeting in late June. And a couple of other just side notes that didn't make it to my report because they occurred after it was written. Tomorrow night, there's a community forum at the high school. It's an in-person opportunity for community residents and dogs to come to, or God bless you, Marilyn. I thought that wasn't working. The community forum is an opportunity for everyone to get a bird's eye view of what's going on at this phase of the high school project. And I highly recommend you to attend that if you're at all free. It's from 6 to 8 tomorrow evening. And lastly, I appointed Bill Rinaldi to the Recreation Committee. Donna Prather and I interviewed him yesterday, and he's going to bring a lot of energy to the Rec Commission. He's got a lot of good ideas about our parks and so forth. So that's my report for tonight, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Mary. Marilyn?
Just a quick question, Mary, back to trash. I know we're all handling phone calls from citizens. The transfer station is open Monday through Friday, normal business hours to
Yes.
accept cash. Okay. And the green bags are available for free in the town hall. Is that also correct?
Another accommodation that we've made to, they used to be, we charge for them ordinarily, but now they're going to be distributed at no cost to the residents.
Till the end of the month for the
Yes.
until this. Okay. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Any other questions for Mary? Ralph?
You're muted.
Thank you. Mary, I was
it?
just wondering, I think each year or every couple of years, Bruce puts together a list of the streets that are going to be paved. Is that something that we can get up onto the town's website? I know in the past he's done it.
Yes, I know he's done it, and I'm sure he'll be happy to do it again. And as soon as I talk to him tomorrow, we'll take care of that.
Yeah, just so that we know what streets are coming up, so that when we get the 30,000 questions, at least we can point to
Yeah.
streets being done.
No problem.
Thank you.
Okay. Jeannie, before we move on to communications, we are deferring our minutes to a council meeting in the near future.
That's correct.
Okay, just so everyone knows, and Anna and Matthew, we will be getting minutes ahead of our regularly scheduled council meeting, and feel free to look at those minutes. And if you have any questions prior to the council meeting, a lot of the questions or changes, amendments, anything that you might want to make, if you can bring it to Jeannie or Jackie's attention, it will just make for a more efficient meeting in the future if we can resolve any changes to the minutes coming forward. So that being said, under communications, correspondence, and announcements, Ryan, I believe you might see Senator Eric Lesser and Representatives Brian Ash and Angela Puplo in the audience.
I have Eric Lesser pulling him in now, along with his Director of Constituent Services.
Okay, I believe that's Jennifer. Yeah. Good evening, Senator.
Hi, everyone. How are you?
I've got you loud and clear. I'm
right.
doing fine, and I think everyone else is as well.
Everyone can hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right.
I know Brian and Angelo are probably in the background here. Did you want them up on the screen at the same time? Is that beneficial, or
Yeah,
would you
of
rather
course.
bring them
Oh,
in?
yeah, they can, of course.
Okay. Okay. So I'll Ryan, if you can bring them in as well, that would be great.
I don't see them in attendance.
Okay.
Nope.
Well, we'll let the senator start with the legislative update, and if they surface, I'm sure we'll bring them in, and they can either join you or we'll talk to them independently. But thank you again for joining us. Any information you have is certainly beneficial to the council that we can pass along to our residents. So we appreciate you being here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, thank you, Mr. President. Thanks for having me, and thanks for accommodating us by Zoom. It feels a little bit like Hollywood Squares, but I just want to say hi, and I do want to congratulate everyone on getting the election behind us on June 7th, and in particular want to congratulate Councillor Hill and Councillor Page on their re-elections, and of course on your new members, Matthew and Anna congratulations. Looking forward to working together. I thought I would just give a couple quick updates about the budget, and then mainly would like to just take questions for as long as people have them or want to ask. Just a couple things, as we are in budget season and we're currently in budget conference. The FY23 budget that has been passed by both the House and the Senate, under the current versions, East Longmeadow would receive $13 million roughly in Chapter 70 funding, and about $1.7 million in unrestricted general government aid. In total, that's about $1 million more, give or take, than FY22 for each budget. And then again, this is assuming that the conference committee doesn't make any changes, which hopefully, knock on wood, is unlikely. So just to give the exact numbers, Chapter 70 in the Senate proposal of the FY23 budget is $13,030,624. That's $854,666 above the final FY22 budget. And the unrestricted aid line was $1,676,745. Again, that's in the FY23 Senate version that's now in conference committee. That's about $85,905 above FY22. So I heard Manager McNally, mentioning the issues around Chapter 70 before I came on. It's essentially level funding, which I appreciate is in an environment where you're not facing level costs because of escalating inflation and escalating supply chain and contracting issues. So I'm hopeful that we're going to be doing also a supplemental budget that's going to be able to get some more aid to East Longmeadow, as well as some improvements we can make and some allocations we can continue to make out of the ARPA funds, the state portion of the ARPA funds, which will hopefully be happening in the next several weeks. On the point of ARPA, we are in the midst of kind of negotiating and debating what's called the ARPA 2.0, which is the second tranche of the federal COVID recovery money that is right now being debated in conjunction with a broader economic development bill that is coming through the committee I chair. We also do have this week, actually, on Thursday, we're going to be debating the general government bond bill, and I filed an amendment for the replacement of the water main on Nelson Avenue. I know, thank you to the town for providing this for me. That's $250,000 in bonding for that project. Just to, I know this group understands how the bonding bills work, but just so that there's transparency on how these bonding bills work. Just because the bonding is approved does not mean the project happens. There's two steps. You have to authorize the borrowing, and then the administration, the governor's team, and ANF has to capitalize that authorization and actually issue the bond. So this will help keep that project on the radar screen. It'll help continue to press forward our advocacy for the funding. But the second half of this will have to be, after we get that bonding authorization approved, we're going to have to continue to work with the governor's team to get it capitalized. And I'm certainly prepared to do that. I heard a little bit of a reference to the high school. I've been following that and have been very engaged with East Longmeadow on the high school project for a number of years at this point. If you remember, back in 2019, we brought Treasurer Goldberg to East Longmeadow. She is, of course, the chair of the School Building Authority, and we've been involved in continued advocacy over a number of years on this project. And of course, as you all know, the MSBA Board of Directors voted in December to invite East Longmeadow High School into the MSBA's eligibility period, which was a really important and good step. So I know you have the visioning session tomorrow. I won't unfortunately be able to personally be there, but I'm following it and I'm keeping track, and I'm certainly reading the emails and the correspondence that's being sent to me about that. It's a very big priority to get that done. And then I just wanted to quickly mention, because I know many residents in East Longmeadow have been impacted by the crumbling foundations issue. I co-sponsored two amendments that were authored by my colleague and our neighbor just to the east of us, Senator Agobi, that were passed and were included in the Senate's FY23 budget. Again, we have to still get it through conference committee, but we did do it in the Senate. And it does two things. The first is it's implementing a new testing requirement for quarries to prevent the sale of the aggregate pyrite. People remember this issue. There was this additive pyrite, or this chemical or substance that was in the quarry in Connecticut. We're going to require testing for all quarries now, because there's the potential actually that this pyrite is in other quarries, and we obviously want to make sure that that's prevented as fast as possible. So we filed legislation to require that testing. We also earmarked another $50,000 to continue the pyrite testing reimbursement program for homeowners. For people who aren't familiar with this, if somebody is concerned that their foundation might have this pyrite in it, they can get a test done and they can get reimbursed for that test through the state, through legislation Senator Goby and Rep. Ash and I, several others have been working on for quite some time. So we're going to continue to work to fund that program. So with that, happy to take questions on anything and everything. And I just want to thank the town of East Longmeadow so much. I want to thank the counselors for your partnership. I love working with each of you, and I am very excited to work with our new members, of course. And I do want to give a very special thank you to acknowledgement to Mary McNally, who's also been a great partner and has always been very responsive. And sometimes we have very short notice when we ask for things that we need in the legislature, and she always does a great job. I want to thank you, President Kane, as well, for the great partnership we've had for many years. So with that, happy to take some questions.
Marilyn?
You're
muted.
I know you all love it when I'm muted. Anyway, thank you very much, Senator. I'm Marilyn Richards. And it's just a follow-up question on the issue of the crumbling foundations. Are we getting a sense how many houses are really involved in this in our Longmeadow, East Longmeadow, area? Any idea at all?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know if we have the ability to fully answer that, because the testing has not been done in I mean, to take like maybe a comparison to COVID, right? It's like you only know as much as you test. So there have been cases and there are cases in Longmeadow, East Longmeadow area, in the kind of border, the communities that border Connecticut, close to the original quarry site. So there are cases, but in terms of like a percentage of homes or a sort of sense of the scale, we don't yet have that, because there hasn't been a broad enough sample of testing to really get a handle on that. The other thing I would just add to that is, you don't want to create alarm or panic, because we do know the rough parameters of who's been impacted by that quarry, because we know the years of operation. Right. We know the radius, the delivery radius of the wet concrete from the quarry, for example. And we also know the years it was in operation. So, if people's homes, in terms of when the home was constructed, if they have records of where the concrete came from in terms of a quarry, and if they feel that they're within that delivery radius of wet concrete, then I really would encourage them to take advantage of the testing program, because they will get reimbursed for that test. But it's not like every single person needs to run out and get this tested, because if you're not within those parameters, then it's less likely.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm. Other questions for the senator? Kath?
Thank you. Hello, Senator. Just if you could, an update on your beloved East-West Rail project.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's moving along in fits and starts, but no, it is moving along. Just to sort of back everybody up for a second, the state completed a feasibility study on East-West Rail at this point well over a year ago. And then there is money allocated in the Biden infrastructure package that was passed several months back that makes projects like East-West Rail eligible. The missing piece is that the state needs to now put an application together to secure that money. So we are in the process of working with the governor and with MassDOT on getting that application together. There's also a component which has gotten some attention recently, which is that the Baker administration has been telling us that they need a rail authority, basically like a legal vehicle to actually do the application, to get the funds, to receive the funds, and to do the procurement for the project. So we're in the process in the legislature right now trying to get that all sorted out so that we can get that authority passed into law, so that they can then go out and do that application. And we've been working closely with Congressman Neal and with Congressman McGovern, as well as Senator Markey and Senator Warren's offices, and MassDOT and the governor's team, and of course our legislative delegation that's been very active in it. So a lot of moving pieces, but they are all moving in the right direction. So we're in better shape on this project than we've ever been. We've got more momentum on it than we've ever had. So we're just waiting on that piece on the authority.
Thank you.
Thank you. Other questions? Connor?
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Senator, for joining us. With the ARPA funds that you were talking about, of like all the, do you know like approximately how much like the state has left to allocate to certain things, and if there's any like direction on what you think it might go towards?
Yeah, it's a really good question. This is taking up a lot of our time recently. So there was a little bit over $5 billion. So ARPA was a huge piece of legislation with a lot of different components, and there were a lot of different aid streams going to different places. So just for clarity, I'm speaking about the state portion of the ARPA allotment. That's separate from the education aid that came in, the direct transit aid that came in, the money that went straight to cities and towns was another branch. But the state itself received a little bit over $5 billion. We have over $2 billion of that left to appropriate. And a large portion of what we had already appropriated last year has not been spent yet. So there's quite a lot more kind of firepower, so to speak, that's still going to be coming online from ARPA. And so we're involved, the legislature and the administration are involved in a process right now of trying to determine when and how to spend that remaining $2 billion. I was actually with Governor Baker in Springfield today, where they were focusing in particular on support for housing and also for environmental projects. For example, water treatment facilities and wastewater systems that are obviously very important for us to keep maintained, and we have long backlogs on all of that. I'm hopeful that we can do at least a portion of that remaining $2 billion relatively soon. But we do want to be careful about making sure that there's accountability for what's already been appropriated, making sure that we've got a good sense of where that's gone before the second half of it, or the second tranche of it is appropriated. And the other piece of it for people to appreciate is it's not a blank check. I mean, there are broad categories of what the state can spend it on and what they can't, but we do have to follow federal guidelines that have been issued for what's eligible for the money and what isn't. Environmental projects, a lot, but not all, housing and infrastructure related projects, and anything directly tied to the recovery, of course, from the health situation and from COVID itself are really where the priority is. So that's also what we're working through now.
Great, thank you.
Okay, Ralph?
Senator Lesser, thank you for being with us. As the last 3 years, my same question keeps coming up, CPA funding. And I will say I'm very impressed. It's gone up for 3 straight years. Every time I ask you, we seem to get more. So
ask again.
So I need to ask again. How are we looking? I mean, obviously, like I've said in the past, the state originally had said they were going to do 100% match, and obviously we're nowhere close to that. But the increases have been very helpful. I just want a general feel. I mean, is that something we can expect, at least a steady, the same amount, or what's the feel from the state?
Yeah, well, so Ralph, I appreciate you bringing this up. There is no bigger fan of CPA than me, except maybe you. But I'm a very big fan. I was involved in helping get it expanded into Springfield several years ago. I see it, in the communities I represent, the communities that have CPA and the communities that don't. It's glaring, in terms of the quality of the open space, the quality of the infrastructure. It's a really important program. There are a group of us in the legislature that have kind of collectively made a goal to try to continue to move us iteratively towards that 100%. We have a long way to go. I think as long as our revenue picture in the state stays where it is and stays in positive territory, we're going to continue to see that increase. I'm certainly pushing for it. And frankly, the inflation and the cost increases for cities and towns make it important that we continue to bump up the ask. And I view it as really fulfilling an obligation, right? The state told communities that there would be 100% match, kind of like a lot of other issues that we deal with, like regional school transportation and special ed and everything else, where the state often doesn't meet its obligation. So I really view it as fulfilling an obligation that the state has already made to cities and towns. So
Thank you.
Big fan of it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Sounds good. Any other questions? Anna? And you're muted as well. There you go.
Thanks, Mike. Thank you, Senator, for attending our meeting. I just had a quick question about the foundation. If somebody was concerned about their foundation, where would they get the information about the testing and getting reimbursed? Is it on mass.gov?
Yeah, it's a great. We probably should have shared. We can very easily get the link over to you. Jennifer, who I think's on the call, we can maybe put it in the chat if that feature. Oh, it doesn't look like we have a chat. We'll send Mary the link, to maybe include, in the minutes or something. But it's if people are watching, it's a mass.gov site. If you Google, Crumbling Foundations Test Program, it should pop up. But we'll make sure we get the exact link to everyone.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, and just to clarify for that, it's a reimbursement program. So it's basically like a form you fill out with essentially your receipts from the testing, and then you submit that, and then they reimburse.
Will it let you know ahead of time if you qualify for it?
I believe that they can do that. That's a good question. We've worked with several constituents that have done it and have had a good experience. So, the state wants people to get tested for the reason, I'm in COVID language. The state wants people's foundations to get tested because we're, to the earlier question, we're trying to, we're really trying to determine the scope of the issue here. So, and constituents can also contact us directly. Jennifer can help guide people through that process, because we've done it with several other, with a lot of families in the area.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Okay. Other questions? All right. Well, I want to thank you. And I really want to mention the fact that we have been working together for approximately 6 years, some of the issues professional and some of them personal. And I just wanted to personally thank you, and on behalf of the entire council, that you've always made yourself available. It's certainly benefited me, and it's benefited our residents as well. So we appreciate having you here this evening, and we look forward to working with you in the future.
Oh, thanks so much, Mr. President. Yeah, it's good to see everyone. And I know it's been an intense couple of years. Hopefully people have nice summer plans to unwind a bit.
There you go. Our budget season's behind us, and we can come up for air before we go full speed right back into that. It's basically a 10-month process. Yeah. So there isn't a lot of breathing room in between, but
absolutely,
we'll get it done. We've got great department heads, and Mary's been amazing with what she's been able to accomplish and help us deliver a budget that's been very acceptable to our residents.
You won't let her go. That's when you got a good person, you can't let her go.
It's tough. All right. Well, thank you again, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thanks, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye now. Ryan, I'm not sure if maybe by a show of hands, if our reps choose to come on and comments at all.
Anyone?
I don't see any other representatives in the audience.
No.
Okay. Just wanted to check. We had talked about it earlier and extended the invitation and certainly wanted to make that opportunity available if they were there. Jeannie, do you have a letter and file that you can read into the record from John Mayberry versus the cruise night?
Sure, Mike, I'd be happy to, but I think Mr. Mayberry's in the audience. If he'd like to do that, I'd
He
be
is.
happy
Oh,
to.
okay. I was unaware. Ryan, do you see a hand there?
Yep, I'm pulling them in right now.
Great.
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
All right. Hi, Mike.
Hi, John. How are you?
Well, good.
That's good. Thank you
So
for taking the time out to join us this evening and sharing us with any information you have that's certainly been a benefit to the community.
Yeah, I'm hoping that the letter pretty much serves as the, the notice, but it's been since 2019 when we had some pretty successful car shows. A lot of people from East Longmeadow, come and network and get together. Some people in like our age group show up with their cars and, haven't seen each other in a while. So we're trying to do it again. So we're going to do June, July, and August. And we'll do the same kind of venue, make sure we've got enough people to take care of it and keep it organized. And Donardo's will be getting a food permit from the health department so that we can do our not so cheap hamburgers and hot dogs. All the proceeds from everything we do, the raffles, donations, and the food all goes to raise a hope in the fight against breast cancer. And we're doing 3 of them this year, all for that same cause. So we're kind of happy to get it going again. Glad this COVID thing is going away and we can get back to what we, enjoy doing as a company for the community.
Yeah, I would think with, COVID dissipating that people feel more comfortable coming out and mingling again, and certainly looking at all the cars and everything that you have to offer. And the event, while we're here, is it still scheduled for your Denzell Road address?
It is. It's actually at our building. We've actually made improvements around the property over the last few years. So there's plenty of room for people who just want to come and see and network, as well as we anticipate somewhere in the 150 or 200 classic cars or cars that are, something people want to display. So we're pretty excited, hoping for 3 good events. Mother Nature is our friend or enemy in these. So we hope for good weather.
Well, it's certainly a great family event, and there's plenty of parking and plenty of room for the 200 cars that you plan on having there. So we're excited to have it back as well, and we wish you the best of luck with it.
Thank you, everybody. I appreciate the time and look forward to seeing some of you there.
Before you leave, I just want to make sure that nobody has any questions. Jeannie, I did see your hand up.
Yeah, I was just going to mention the dates, June 22nd, July 27, and August 24. Is that correct, John? Those are the dates?
That is, and the way my 64-year-old brain keeps track of it, it's the 4th Wednesday of those 3 months.
Okay.
All right, great. Ralph?
Is there any rain dates?
No, we don't do that. It's either good or bad, because getting in touch with everybody is near impossible. So it's either a good day or it's not so good day.
Well, with 3 events scheduled, it'll certainly help. I'm sure that hopefully the weather accommodates you on all 3 event dates. But
I'm Irish, so I only need 3 good days out of 365, and we're home free.
All right, sounds great.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you,
All right.
everybody.
Thank you again for joining us and everything you do with the cars and the donations. And it is a great event for the Raise a Hope, and we certainly appreciate it. So thank you for joining.
Yeah, keep an eye out for our pink floats and pink forklifts and pink cars in the parade this year. So we will participate again.
For sure. We'll be there. Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye. Bye.
Okay. Jeannie, who better to give us the results of the election or the
Thank you. And thank you, Ralph, for those nice comments. It is many, many hours. And for this election, we had the added work of the re-precincting due to from the federal census from 2020. So back in November, I started working with the state to confirm the changes in the precinct numbers, and my staff and I went through every street in town one by one to confirm that they're in the right precinct that they were given to us, and it was a lot of work. So a normal election starts weeks in advance in preparation, and the election day pretty much runs itself because of all the planning we do. I've got a great staff here in the office. My assistant of the year, Jackie, worked with me till 10 at night under her adverse conditions. And the election workers, they're just enthusiastic, they're diligent. We had the wardens and clerks for the 5 precincts, you know, with their patience and attention to detail, trying to count all the write-in votes, not trying, they did. And when one precinct was done, they went to the next precinct. Do you need help? It was just a great collaborative affair, and I'm just very happy and proud of the staff and the election workers in town, and East Longmeadow should be too. The results, it was a 13.6% turnout. We have 12,733 registered voters, and of those, 1,735 showed up to vote with the 13.6% turnout. For the 3-year terms, Kathy Hill had 1,082 votes. Anna Jones had 997 votes, Ralph Page 853. For the 2-year term for council, Matt Boucher was elected with the 298 votes. And the 3-year school committee seats, Antonella Rochella with 1,155 votes, and Amy DeLenta 1,008 votes. So congratulations to all the candidates, and welcoming especially Anna and Matt to the council that you were elected to. The next, we're gonna get pretty much going again soon for the September 6th primary election. We still haven't heard from the state whether there's early in-person voting yet. We're very anxious since the election day is the day after Labor Day, following Labor Day weekend, so we'd like to be prepared for that. And then the state election is November 8th, and I do believe there'll be 2 weeks of early in-person voting for that, but again, to be confirmed by the state. So that's about it. Again, thank you to everybody that pitches in, and that's all, DPW, police, fire, everyone. It's just it's a great collaborative affair, and it's kind of fun actually, election day, barring accidents or problems. But with the re-precincting, we had about 20% of the residents had changed a precinct, so we were mandated by the state to inform them. So we sent out a postcard from our office to every voter, letting them know that there was a change, why there was a change, and what their new precinct was. And I had the new precinct map up at the welcome table at the election day in the polls. So I didn't see a lot of mistakes made and no confusion. So I was very happy with that. It was a good day.
All right. Jeannie, again, thanks for all your hard work and your staff and putting the event together and making it as successful as it was.
You're welcome.
Okay. No public hearings this evening, but under orders of the day, licensing matters. Connor, could I have a motion to approve a 1-day liquor license for the Skilled Nursing Center?
Sure. I move to approve a 1-day liquor license for the East Longmeadow Skilled Nursing Center, 305A Maple Street, for a grand opening celebration on July 12th, 2022, from 3 to 6 p.m.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Jeannie?
I believe the applicant is in the audience if she'd like to say a few words about the event. Katie Krupka.
Okay, Ryan, could you bring her in, please?
Yep, pulling her in right now.
Hi, Katie. If you can hear me, you can come off mute when you have a chance. There you go.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, how you doing?
I'm well, how are you?
Good.
Yeah, we're hosting our opening East Longmeadow Memory Care Assisted Living Community at 305C Maple Street. It's on the campus with East Longmeadow Skilled Nursing Center. We're really excited about this opportunity to host this event, and we hope anyone can make it that's in this audience. And we appreciate you approving the license for us to have a good celebration.
Wonderful.
All right. Thanks, Katie.
Thank
We'll
you.
look forward to the event. So
Great. And if anybody has any questions in the meantime, you can reach out to me directly at the center.
we sure will.
Thank
Oh.
you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Is there any further discussion? I'm hearing and seeing none. Anna and Matthew, that we do roll call vote in our Zoom meetings here versus signification with an aye or a nay. So I'll start the roll call voting with Anna when you come off of mute.
Sorry.
There you go.
Yes.
There you go. I'm a yes as well. I'm working off a screen as Eric phrased, Hollywood squares here, and things bounce around a little bit. And I have been missed votes before, so please jump out if I miss your name. That being said, Marilyn,
Yes.
Connor,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Matthew,
Yes.
Ralph, and you're muted. I'll take it
Yeah.
as a yes.
I read his
Yes.
lips.
Thank you. Let's see on their license. So that's the only licensing matter that we have on the table tonight. But Steve, could you give us an update on what we can expect at our next council meeting? Because 90% of that agenda, if not 100%, will be all about financial matters and trying to meet specific goals to comply with this fiscal year, correct?
Correct. We asked for this meeting, the next meeting, to push it off to that meeting simply because we're trying to get the most accurate amount of transfers if we have to do it and tie up loose ends in the budget for fiscal 22, which ends on June 30th. And so to do it now, a couple of weeks from now, I'd probably ask Jeannie to put something on the agenda anyways to do it again. So we figured we'd do them all at once, do it as quickly and as accurately as we can, and then close the year on the 30th and start preparing for free cash certification and audits.
Sounds like a plan. Okay, thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
Under old business, this is to comply with the adoption of a MLP, which is our municipal lighting plant. For those of you, just to refresh, we need to vote on this 2 years in a row, and we're running out of time for our fiscal year that ends at the end of this month. So we need to vote on this tonight. Would be better than later in the month. And then we'll be in our next fiscal season. We can vote again and we can form the MLP, which will enhance our opportunity to bring, I don't want to say bring fiber into town, because we do have fiber into town, but the obvious goal is to be able to bring it into all our households at some point in time. So, Ralph, how about let me just say, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, a motion for the council authorized, please.
I move that the town council authorize the town manager to take all necessary and appropriate action to establish and to maintain, in accordance with the provisions of Chapter 164 of the general laws and in accordance with the rules, regulations, and orders of the Department of Public Utilities and the Department of Telecommunications and Cable, a municipal lighting plant for all purposes allowable under the laws of the Commonwealth, including without limitation the operation of a telecommunication system and any related services, or to take any other action relative thereto.
I will second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Discussion. I'm hearing and seeing none. We'll roll call vote, and we'll start with Anna.
Yes.
I'm a yes. Marilyn,
Yes.
Connor,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Matthew,
Yes.
and Ralph.
Yes.
Thank you all. Under new business, this is to revoke the February 17th, 1943 acceptance pertaining to civil service. Matt, do you have a motion in front of you that you could read for us?
I move to revoke the February 17th, 1943 acceptance of Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 31, Section 48, placing the town's regular and permanent police department under civil service laws.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Discussion? I'm hearing and seeing none. I'll start the roll call vote with myself, and I'm a yes. Anna,
Yes.
Marilyn,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Connor,
Yes.
Ralph,
Yes.
and Matthew.
Yes.
That's great. Thank you.
Michael,
Yes,
can I just say thank you to Mary for making this happen? She
absolutely.
worked very, very hard on negotiating the police contract, and it was one of her goals. And I'm just really pleased that it all came to fruition. Thank you, Mary.
Pleasure. I'm very happy. And Chief Williams is in the audience, or has been all night, in case you had any questions. Just, I know you understand this, but it's just the first step in the process, and we're delighted that you've approved it tonight. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Mary. Okay, our next order of business here. I was just looking to make sure under summary with action items, the only action item I can think of is that, and I'm sure we won't forget, is get the MLP back on the agenda so that we can move forward as quick as we can. And I just wanted to add in one piece to that, because MLP seems to be confusing to most people that hear it for the first time, but it will give us the opportunity to be able to pick our ISP. And that obviously competition's good. And this would be great. It will improve services and hopefully be cost effective. On that note, I'm going to make a motion to move into executive session to conduct a strategy session in preparation for contract negotiations for non-union personnel, being the town manager position for Ron Santangelo, and then return back to open session.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? I'm hearing and seeing none. We'll roll call vote again. Anna?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Kathy?
Yes.
Marilyn?
Yes.
Connor?
Yes.
Ralph?
Yes.
And Matthew?
Yes.
Thank you. Welcome back, everyone. We are back in open session for the purposes of the conclusion of our June 14th Town Council meeting. I will entertain a motion to authorize, I want to say authorize the Town Council Subcommittee to be formed for negotiation purposes. Kathy, could you read that motion?
Yes, I will. I move to authorize Town Manager Contract Negotiations Subcommittee to negotiate on the Town Council's behalf in accordance with the authority discussed in the executive session, and any terms be returned to the Town Council for a final vote of acceptance.
I will second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. Anna?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Connor?
Yes.
Kathy?
Yes.
Matthew?
I'm going to abstain.
Marilyn?
Yes.
Ralph?
Yes.
Okay.
So Mike, just for clarification, in open session, do you want to say who's on the subcommittee? Just so that the public knows?
It certainly wouldn't hurt. I am appointing a 3 council member subcommittee for the purposes of the motion, which will be Kathy Hill, Marilyn Richards, and Ralph Page. And I thank you for your services. That being said, the last agenda item is for adjournment purposes.
Ta-da. Anna.
I move to adjourn.
I second.
Okay, a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing and seeing none. This is a roll call vote as well. Anna?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Connor?
Yes.
Kathy, everyone's smiling now.
Yes.
Marilyn
Yes.
and Ralph.
Yes.
Thank you all for your time and patience. Mary, thank you for joining us. We will be back in 2 weeks and we can consider ourselves adjourned at 8:25. Have a great night.
Thank you,
Thanks, you
everyone.
too.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
night.
Good night, everyone.
Night.